Welcome on in, everyone, to They Are Not From Philly podcast. I'm your host, Adam from Wales, here with my partner in crime, Justin from Tennessee. And as you can see, we got the Kelly Green out again because the Birds are going down to Dallas to face them boys. And they're going to throw on the Kelly Greens for some extra, good luck and stuff down in Dallas, because it's always a challenge down in Dallas. It's going to be a big game. It's going to be a good game. So a lot to obviously get into. Just again, it's never a frigging quiet week in being a fan of Philly sports. There's always
No.
something going wrong. Someone's upset. Someone loses. It's just the last few weeks have just been insane. I think we'll start with AJ Brown and obviously Devontae Smith. They were asked some questions yesterday, and obviously Elliot asked a question to AJ Brown at the locker, about Jalen Hurts, and straight away AJ Brown is asked me about something else. You know what I mean? And it's like we just said before the show, these guys have got a chance now to throw water on the fire. You know what I mean? Fan the flames, and they just don't. So AJ Brown, just doesn't want to talk about Jalen Hurts, and then Devontae Smith goes on with John Clark, and he says himself that the offense is he thinks is struggling, even though Devontae's having a career year. You know what I mean? Devontae's been fantastic. So it's a bit strange him saying that, but I guess he's feeling overall as a team on offense. What do you think, just about all this stuff that's been going on the last few weeks? Because the Packers was a struggle on offense, the Lions was a struggle on offense, the defense, we can't say anything more about the defense. They have just been fantastic. Jalen Phillips was a pot of gold by Howie Roseman. Just bringing him in was, we didn't know that was going to go because of the injury history and stuff. But Vic Fangio knows the guy. He's got him going straight away, which is fantastic, which is what you want. So how do you feel about the last few weeks, just with everything with AJ Brown and the offense as a whole?
Well, first of all, Dallas sucks.
Oh yeah,
Dallas
they do.
can suck it. Dallas week, Dallas hate week. I know. Spike and Jack were trying to downplay Dallas hate week. It's always Dallas hate week. We always hate Dallas.
Oh yeah.
And like you said, we're going to get to go down there with these beautiful Kelly Greens. This team,
Can't wait.
when they look good, they feel good, and they play good. So
Mm-hmm.
hopefully we remain undefeated wearing the beautiful Kelly Greens. So on with the drama as the world turns, or as the locker room turns, as we should put it. I'm so sick of it, man. I'm so
Mm-hmm.
daggone sick of
Yeah.
it. It makes me want to puke. We've listened to this shit for 3 years now, it seems like. And now it seems
Yeah.
like there's people coming out of the woodwork. Supposedly, D Gun's got sources, Diana Rossini's got sources. Everybody's got a source in the locker room, and everybody's upset. But how upset would they be, if we were 2-8 instead of 8-2? That place would be burning to the ground. And
Oh.
Drew posed the question to us on the episode he was on with us,
Mm-hmm.
between the Green Bay and Detroit games. If you could take 1-1 right off the bat, knowing you would win one of the games, either one, take whichever win you want, or take your chances, not knowing if you're going to go 2-0, or you may go 0-2, what would you do? And Drew said he believed he would take his chances with this team and say 2-0. I wanted to say that, but wanting to keep that the top seat for the number one seed, have the lead, I would have said 1-1 with a win over Detroit. We went 2-0.
Yeah.
It was terrible conditions in Green Bay. Won it. What was it? 10-10. What was that score? 10-9,
10 to
10-6, or
it
something.
was
I
10 to
don't know.
7.
Yeah,
Yeah.
something like that. A bad, ugly game. Ugly game. Same thing with Detroit. One squeaked it out, but conditions were bad, wind was blowing, and all that jazz, and people are ripping Jalen. Well, you got to look. There were 5 drops to start that game for him. Now, he wasn't pinpoint accurate. He wasn't the best. He wasn't the sharpest we've seen. But like we
Mm.
said, it was colder than whiz. The wind was a whipping. And within that first drive, there were 2 drop passes that could have extended those drives for first
Yeah.
downs. I'm so sick of the shit, man. I am. We're coming off a Super Bowl, and you think we're coming off the 23 season again. We're
Yeah,
like we figured last year would be like this
yeah,
because of the collapse from
yeah.
from from that. It wasn't. This team took off last year, and now it seems like everybody's got something to say about something. It's I'm just so upset. I'm aggravated. I don't know what else to tell you.
Yeah, like you know, it's like these guys almost want something bad to happen. You know, it's you know, do they want 23 to happen again? Because I don't want to see that collapse come again. You know what I mean? We're in a similar sort of point of the season now where you're coming to the end stretch, which is where the collapse happened in 23. They lost the last 5 or 6 games. You know,
Yeah.
and what we got like 9 games left, something like that, 8 games, and so you know, it's like, do you want this to happen? You've come off winning the Super Bowl. Do you know how hard? Like, do they? I mean, obviously they do realize it, but like, it's like someone needs to shake them sometimes and like smack them upside the head because it's like, do you know how hard it is to not only try to go back to Super Bowl, but be in a
Yep.
winning position that you were in? The guys that they're 8-2, like you said, it could be 2-8. A Super Bowl hangover is real. We've seen it happen. It happened to us in 23. It's happened to
Yep.
the 49ers. We saw what a struggle it was for the Chiefs to go back to the Super Bowl. It wasn't easy for them. Like me last year, they had the help of the refs and they weren't fantastic. But the year before, when they went back and they beat the 49ers, they were a low scoring offense, if you remember. It was the defense that carried them to the Super Bowl. Maybe that's happening to us this year because obviously the defense now have found their stride and they're just getting better and better every week. Guys like Moro Jomo are stepping up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Jalen Carter's got back in form because look how a struggle it was for him at the start of the
N-
season. It was like, what's happened to Jalen
N'Kobe.
Carter? You know,
Yeah,
Jordan Davis,
N'Kobe
big baby Davis, like,
and
yeah,
N'Kobe
N'Kobe
coming
Dean's
back
come
off an
back from a
injury like they
terrible.
shot his ass out of a cannon.
Yeah, and you know, no, but I don't think anyone was expecting Kobe Dean to play this good coming
No.
off an injury. He come back
No.
sooner than he probably was expected to as well. And he's just been on. He's replaced Jahad Campbell now on most of the snaps on defense. And look how good Jahad
He
Campbell has
has.
been as well as a rookie. He's been good.
Yep.
You've got to give credit to him. So Vic Fangio, and it's like, you guys, you don't have. I said in my video the other day, like, do we realize how fortunate we are, the position that we're in? I know the offense, right? We're struggling to close out these games, and it is frustrating. You know, when we're there watching these games, and I'm like myself and other fans around the world staying up late every week because we're committed to love these guys, love this team,
Yeah.
and you're seeing this display on the offense, and maybe they're playing cautious, protective football, and you know, Jalen is always we're always known Jalen doesn't want to turn the ball over. He just doesn't. And he's never going to be the quarterback that just lets it rip. When he has to, he does. Like we saw in the Rams game when we were down. We
Yeah.
thought that game was over. Jalen Hurts, they
The
let him
the
loose.
Super
And
Bowl, the NFC Championship.
yeah, yeah. In the big spots, we know Jalen Hurts is going to turn up and he's going to put on an
Yes.
absolute display. Now, he can't do it every week, okay? That's fair enough.
Yeah.
But, you know, to the people that obviously want it, like, you know, like on the radio and other podcasts, they want to see more of a dominant display on offense. They want to see, and yeah, I do. I'd love to as well. But all I want is just to see a balanced offense. And we can't even Kevin Batulo or whoever is making these decisions. They can't give us that. So that is
Yeah.
frustrating because we could be closing out these games, you know, with more of a 10-point lead where you're feeling a bit more safer. These last 2 games against the Packers and the Lions, if they get the ball back and they kick a field goal, those games go to overtime and we could
Yeah.
lose. We could have lost them games. You know what I mean? I'm sitting there watching that Packers game the week before last, you know, 4 o'clock in the morning, and Sirianni doesn't punt the
Yeah.
ball back. You know, he goes for it, goes for the touch push on the 30-yard line.
Same thing
And
with
they
Detroit.
struggled. And talking about, they're struggling with the touch push. They are. They are
And
struggling to
Cam
convert the touch push.
Cam Jurgens is out of the game at that point. You've got your backup center in at
Yeah,
that point.
first snap of the
So
game, and he's
so
expected to do the touch push.
yeah, so punt. Rely on your defense because they're what's got you to this point in the game. They're
Yeah.
what won you the game the week before by playing their ass off, playing with their hair on fire, making stops on the head. My God, they stopped Detroit on every fourth down they went for.
Yeah.
I don't think Detroit converted a single fourth down. So rely on your punt it. If they drive the length of the field, so be it. But you're not getting on the short. Hell, far they on that series when they lost when not when they lost, but when they didn't make the fourth down, they didn't convert. Detroit went 3-and-out for -7 yards and still kicked a damn field goal. Still
Yeah.
kicked a field goal. Punt the ball. The
I know.
defense is playing lights out. They were cold. They were miserable. Jared Goff was seeing ghosts and throwing dirt balls. It's what we expected out of Jared Goff in those conditions. We got what we want. We put pressure in his face. It was cold. That is the formula for beating Jared Goff. That's why you have to have that one seed over Detroit, because if he's playing in that dome and you're not getting pressure on that in his face, then he's going to light you up.
Yeah.
But when you have both factors going against him, he's not going to play well. It's proven time and again. It's proven. So punt the damn ball.
Yeah.
Oh, I was
And
so
like
pissed.
I know. I was saying, I trust Nick. I give Nick Sirianni. Okay, he's made one dumb
Yeah,
decision. He's not going to do it again. I trust him, and he keeps on doing it now.
yeah.
And it's you know thank God Dan Campbell went for it so much. And I, to be honest, like I didn't expect Dan Campbell to be that aggressive in that game. I
Oh,
know
I
Dan
did.
Campbell is obviously he's known for being aggressive. Always goes for it on fourth down, even if he's on his own 50-yard line, he's going for it on fourth down. You don't care. But I thought because of the scope and the size of the game and what a bit Monday Night Football and it was I thought he would have been a bit more smarter, but he wasn't. And thankfully, our defense, read everything that he was trying to throw at them on fourth down, and they were fantastic. But
I
Nick
think
Sirianni's
I
got to get his shit together now, man.
I think Campbell wanted to come out and prove a point. Monday Night Football, the Detroit team wanted to come out and prove a point because they were, if you remember when we won the Super Bowl, the first one in 17-18 season, whatever,
Mm.
and the Vikings went into New Orleans. Did they go into New Orleans or did they win at home?
Oh God, I can't remember. I think it was in New Orleans.
Anyway, they had that miracle touchdown
Yeah.
to win the NFC, to go to the NFC Championship all off season. All you heard from the Saints is we'd have beat that ass if we'd have played Philly. You couldn't even beat the team that we demolished. Okay,
Mm.
and then all off season, Washington upsets Detroit in the divisional or whatever, and then all we heard off season, Detroit, oh, we'd have beat that ass. Did you see what we done to Washington? So that I think Detroit wanted to come in and Dan Campbell wanted to light us up and just keep the pressure on. But the thing about it is that was Dan Campbell's second game calling plays, and he was going up against the Godfather, Vic Fangio, who was
Mm.
ready and waiting for his ass. Anything they done, they were ready. And like I said, the main thing, it was pressure in Goff's face the entire time. It
Yeah.
was insane. I will give them credit for one thing, though. That damn Jameer Gibbs is a hell of a football player. That
Yeah.
son bitch, it seemed like as soon as he got the ball in his hands, he was running like somebody shot a rocket out of his ass.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
he was flying up and down the field,
Yeah.
jitterbugging here and there. That kid, I don't watch Detroit play a lot. I don't because if
Mm.
they're usually playing around the same time the Eagles are
Yeah.
or something. But my God, I love watching that guy play. I really wanted us to get him when he came out, and I thought it was kind of crazy that Detroit took him in the first round. But I kind of
Yeah.
comped it to a little bit of draft nerd in me. But I kind of comped it to Alvin Kamara when he came out
Yeah.
of Tennessee, that how well he played for New Orleans and what he done for them. And it's the same thing, man. I mean, he's more. I think he's more explosive than Kamara was. Maybe. Damn, that
Yeah.
kid's good. Real good
Yeah,
ball player.
I didn't realize how much speed he had. Like I watched him
Yeah.
play, and he always, he's not. He doesn't seem like a fast running back. He just finds the right gaps, and he gets through, and But I didn't realize he had so much speed. He was like shot at the
Yeah.
cannon, and then the receiver, Williams.
James Williams.
Yeah, James Williams. He's got some speed as well. Like
Yeah,
that
he
guy
can
is that guy's
fly.
fast. He's getting better and better every year. He is. He's
And
becoming a really good receiver.
he's a guy I wanted too, but that's the year we traded and got AJ.
Yeah, yeah.
I think that kind of what spurred us getting AJ was Detroit jumped in front of us that
Yeah,
draft
they did.
and got
That's
him,
right.
and that kind of spurred the talks a little bit more during that draft for us to go get AJ.
I remember sitting there on draft night, and I wanted Williams because like you'd heard all that stuff about AJ
Yeah.
Brown, you'd seen cryptic videos of him and Jalen working out together, but I didn't think that they were going to be able to get him because we'd been let down previously by Howie of getting the right guys. You know what I mean? They missed out on some good receivers and stuff. So I just didn't think he was going to be able to do it. And then when they jumped up and they took Williams, I thought then in my back of my mind I was like, oh my god, surely they're getting
No
AJ Brown.
shit.
Yeah, I was like, they've got to get AJ Brown. I was like thinking like trade for him now, give him anything they want, because the best receiver had gone off the board. You know what I mean? I think he was the best receiver in that draft, or one of the top 3. But I was like, he's gone. That's who I wanted. I was like, oh my god, just get AJ Brown, Howie. And then thankfully, he like 10 seconds later, they announced the trade, and I was like, I couldn't believe it. And so
And this is going back to the hubbub in the locker room. What you asked me about earlier. I don't know if you listened to the morning show yesterday morning, but where
I
they
didn't
had Jason
yesterday, no.
Kelsey on.
Oh, I saw the Jason Kelsey clip, yeah, and he talked about Lane Johnson.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he talked about how I think he said it was Chip Kelly's last year with the team. And he said he looks at Lane Johnson like a brother. And Lane Johnson was drafted there by Chip Kelly. Jason Kelsey has a few years on him. He was under Andy Reid for 1-2 years maybe before Andy was fired and Chip was hired. Anyway, Jason let it be known that there was something said during the season or something about practices, this, that, and the other, and he didn't like it, so he went out and he said something about Lane doesn't know. Lane's only been here under Chip Kelly, so he doesn't know. I think we've got it pretty easy compared to what it was. I think it needs to be a little harder. And then Lane came back and say something. He said he and Lane did not speak that entire offseason. And Jason got kind of emotional. He said, what you need to do is treat these relationships like you would your marriage. If you have a problem, talk to them, hash it out, we'll see what you can do to make things better. And I agree. I said that. I don't know if I said it on this show or on the radio. I may said it on both. What really kills me, and like I said, I get so frustrated at seeing the AJ comments and now Devontae kind of saying what he did. But what really kills me, draft night. Go back to that draft when AJ was traded. We saw the video where Jalen FaceTimed AJ. Those boys were happy as hell.
Oh,
it was like brothers being reunited, and they were just tickled to death at what was to come. And we saw what was to come. That team went to the Super Bowl. Yes, they went to the Super Bowl, came up just short. And now these guys don't even speak. That's what really upsets me. These guys, I mean, you can say what you want to, say I'm corny as hell or whatever. I kind of went through something like that with a really close relative who I looked at like a brother. I mean, me and this guy were tight. We started, we worked together, and things kind of got sideways with work, and we had hard feelings. And this guy was in my wedding. He's my first cousin. I don't give a shit. He was like my brother. But now, we've talked things out over the years. We've gotten better. We don't work together anymore. I moved on, but anyway, that's what I hate, that these guys' relationship isn't what it was. And like I said, you can call bullshit on me if you want to, but that's what I'm really hating more than anything.
Yeah, it is a shame because like I love looking back on that video. When they won the Super Bowl, and like when the Eagles won the Super Bowl, everyone was just like blasting out tweets and videos and celebrating all. I must have put a million things up one after the other all day long. I was on such a high, and I think one of the posts I put was up like I reposted the video, and I said like, you all had to know it was over when these two guys got together, because like when Jalen and AJ finally got together on a team, they were laughing because obviously they were happy to be playing together, but like they knew what they were about to achieve together, the dominance they were about to display. And that 2022 run, even though they lost in the Super Bowl, was such a special year because that connection they had was incredible. You know what I mean? I know there's a thing of like, okay, you can train together and you can have workout together in the off season, but does it translate into games then, real league games? You know what I mean, down the line? And it did. They had such an incredible connection, and it was a really good year. And even then, like I said a couple of weeks ago, why this is obviously still a shock to me and you and to loads of fans, because it did carry over into the 2023 season, because AJ Brown went on a tear going into that season.
Yeah.
He had like 4 or 5 games where he was like breaking, receiving
Six games.
yards. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was incredible. Like people were saying that he
Yep.
was going to be the MVP of the season. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
he was playing that well, and obviously then the collapse came and it all broke down, and then you start hearing all this stuff coming out that they're not getting along and this, that, and the other. And it was like, how can it change? How can it go from that to this
I don't
so
know.
quickly? You know, and
I don't know.
like we say, every week, because everyone's talking about AJ Brown every week, and I'm sick of having to talk about AJ Brown every week. But like, we won't know for another 10 years, maybe, when these guys are retired and they're on podcasts and this, that, and
Oh,
maybe they put
I think
something out there.
I think we'll know next year when AJ's not on the team. If
I
AJ's traded in the offseason, it'll come out. You won't hear a peep out of Jalen.
no,
That ain't what Jalen does.
no, it is
But
no.
AJ will put it all out there
Yeah,
on display for the world to see and
yeah,
hear. And it'll be AJ's side of the story. It won't be Jalen's side. And there's two sides to every story.
yeah,
But man, it really and what Jason said yesterday, what really pisses me off, these guys, if they would take a look, if they would just come together and say, look at what we've done. We've been to 2 Super Bowls in 3 years,
yeah,
have a great opportunity to go to 3 and 4, become one of the few teams that go back to back.
yeah,
We have all this talent, all these people. The defense is coming together now. We've gotten Kobe back. Jalen Carter's starting to play at a high level. It seems like he's gotten over his shoulder issue. We've
yeah,
got a killer edge rusher in Jalen Phillips. Why can we not just come together and play to win another daggone Super Bowl and put all this bullshit aside? Don't worry about how we win. Just worry about getting the wins,
yeah,
because that's all that matters in the end game. We've
yeah,
heard everybody say Jalen doesn't want to put the ball in harm's way. When you look at the stat, hell far, man, when these quarterbacks have all these turnovers. You've seen the Broncos Chiefs. I don't know if you did, but I watched it last week.
yeah,
Pat Mahomes had a killer turnover at the end of that game, and it cost the Chiefs. And the Chiefs
yeah,
needed that game. They're 5-5 now. Who knows if the
yeah.
Chiefs even make the playoffs?
I know. Yeah, they
Come
might.
together.
Yeah, I mean, they might not even. They might finish second in the division. You know, I guess. Well,
I don't know
I
that
don't
they
know,
will. I think the
Chargers.
Chargers will.
Yeah, the Chargers. Yeah, the Chargers. The Chargers are better than I thought they would be this year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've never bought into the Justin Herbert thing. You know what I mean? I respect his mechanics and his throwing ability and what have you. But you see what he's like when it comes to the playoffs and what have you. The guy falls in half even if he gets there. You know, so. But
And
yeah, you know,
another thing. Last night's game. What happened to Josh Allen?
I know.
He lost to Houston. Now, Houston's got a killer defense. Houston has a really good defense, but they're ass on offense. Josh Allen has lost to a shitty Dolphins team, a shitty Falcons team, a
Yeah,
middling Houston team. What would we be saying if we had lost? I mean, yeah, we lost to a shitty Giants team, but we lost to seems like a pretty good
Broncos. Yeah,
Broncos team,
yeah,
you know? But those, and one was at home, and the other was like, I don't know how, it ain't too far from Jersey to Philadelphia, but
mm,
anyway, still yet.
mm,
I mean, I think the thing of it is with that loss, and I said this before, they just kind of went into that Thursday night game. It was short week, and it was like, ask the Giants, we're going to roll these cats. We don't got to. And the Giants came in ready and blew our ass out. But anyway,
yeah.
what would we be saying about Jalen Hurts if he had lost those games like Josh Allen has to the
Oh yeah,
Dolphins and the
Jalen.
Texans
Yeah,
and the Falcons? And
yeah.
it'd be
Jalen's gonna.
ridiculous.
He's gonna get. He would have been torn apart. And you know, what I mean, I love Spike and Ike and Jack and that, but like Spike and Jack would have been having a field day
Oh yeah.
to Jalen, you know, and Joe the camera and all the other, you know, that don't, you know, quite believe in him 100%. So
2 weeks or 3 weeks ago, 3 weeks or whatever it was after that Giants loss, Joe DeCamera was on the morning show saying, "Guys, I don't know that they make the playoffs. I don't
I
know that
know.
they make the playoffs." And I mean, we've won what 4 straight since then or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
I forget what it is. Joe DeCamera was on the radio saying, "I don't know that this team makes the playoffs, guys. I don't know. This team looked bad. That was bad." And I
I
mean,
know.
oh God Almighty.
I know. So this will be like the last thing we say about AJ now, and then we'll move on to the O line and Dallas and the Dallas game coming up. But I've had this concern in my head all year. Like obviously AJ didn't have nowhere near had a full training camp, right? Because he was nursing this hamstring injury. And he come back, and he didn't look quite up to speed. And then they had the bye week, and it was like, get healthy now, and you'll be okay. And obviously, I know they can't get the ball to him at certain times and all this. But when they do try to get the ball to AJ Brown, it seems to be not people. Some people think he's given up on the plays. Some
Yeah.
people think he's still hurt. I think, yeah, like I think it's a bit of both. I think he is giving up, and I think that's out of he's concerned he's gonna hurt re-injure that hamstring or whatever. I don't know. It's speculation. He said at the locker yesterday, people were asking him, "Are you still hurt?" He was like, "No, I'm not hurt. I'm fine. I'm 100%." Blah blah blah. So like, okay, well, when they are trying to give you the ball, what's going wrong? Because you don't look like the regular AJ Brown. So I don't know what's your thoughts on that. Do you think he's checking out and he's looking to the off season, or do you think it is the hamstring nickling him every year and there? I don't know.
After that, he also said the Saquon not look like Saquon this year too. So I mean,
Yeah.
man, it's something all the time with him. But I think he's 28 years old. He had a lot of hamstring issues when he was with the Titans. I heard about it a lot because I live in Tennessee. I don't really follow
Mm.
the Titans, but there's some things you just hear no matter
Yeah.
what. But he's been nursing the hamstring, and he said something I think during the offseason on a podcast that he had to have his knee drained a couple of times a week toward the end of the
Yeah.
season last year.
Yeah.
I think things are catching up with him. I don't know that he's. I mean, we've heard a lot of people saying it doesn't seem like he's the same player he was. Has he lost a step? Has this? One thing that I heard, and I've heard it from two different people. One was Jason Avant in an interview, and the other was, I think, Mike Mayock yesterday with the afternoon show. We faced cover one, and man, every time we faced that against this Lions team, we didn't beat it. We had no separation, according to what Baldy and Mayock and Jason Avant said. And they were without their two starting corners. Both
Mm.
of their starting corners were out. And the two guys that they had, Rock Yassin and the other guy, Mayock basically said, they're really good backup players, but you're never going to see either one of these guys make a Pro Bowl. But they are what they are. If you need them in a pinch, that's what they're going to be. What kills me is if you're hurt, take the time to get better, man.
Mm.
Take the time. Stop rushing back. It's just like we all know Lane Johnson's a warrior. He went out the
Mm.
week before with a foot or ankle or whatever, and then he came back last week and he was out really early in the game with the Liz Frank injury.
Yeah.
Would it have helped if he would have been out for a couple of games? Yeah, probably. But he's looking at Detroit, probably thinking, "Man, we got to get this win to keep hold of that number
Yeah.
one seed in the playoffs." That's probably what he was doing. No fault of
Yeah.
his. He just wants to be out there and help the team. But sometimes you got to take that time. Same thing
Yeah.
with Cam Jurgens, dude. We saw, Cam's back at practice again this week. Take the time, man.
Take the time.
Take
Yeah.
the time. We
Yeah.
we know that it's going to be tough this week because Dallas has a couple of really good defensive tackles in who's the guy they got from Green Bay in the Parsons trade? Uh, something. Anyway, and then they got Quinn Williams in the
Yeah.
trade with the Jets
Yeah.
a couple of weeks ago. So they're
Yeah.
really good up front. They're really good up front, and that's
Yeah.
maybe that's what Jurgens is looking at. I don't want to expose my quarterback to these two guys. I don't want the backup out there. But what if you go out there and you hurt your knee even worse and you're done for the damn season?
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like this week,
I
it's not even that well, it probably is still his knee, but he's battling through
yeah,
a concussion as well. So he's got a clear concussion
yeah.
protocol. So I think it's best this week you don't put him in there. Give him another week to clear concussion and to get his knee a bit of rest, and it gives Brett Toth that full week of preparation. Instead, this week
Yes.
now he's having to do a half in, half out type of preparation. I don't know what they do in practice and how they prepare, but I'm just guessing that obviously you're gonna have to split the snaps in practice with the first team because you need to see what Cam is looking like and you need to see what Brett is looking like. So that isn't good. And so like going into Dallas now, Dallas have always had a good offensive line. You know what I mean? Dak when it does fall down, Dak gets out. Dak always tends to carve up our Eagles secondary. He always has a good game against our secondary. But obviously our secondary is different this time. We've got Cooper DeJean's on a roll, Quignon's on a roll, but CeeDee Lamb is tough to keep. I think he got the
Yes.
better of Cooper DeJean the last time we played them.
Yeah.
But there's a bit more experience there for Coop this time. Hopefully he's prepping. Well, he will be obviously prepping for CeeDee Lamb all week, and hopefully they just have him and Quignon follow him around when needs must. But with the O-line now going into this Dallas game, what we've seen the last few weeks is the offensive line have struggled overall to run the ball. They've been decent in pass protection, but there's a discipline lacking there at the line because when we do get a nice balanced rhythm going on offense, a penalty sets us back 10, 15 yards. And who is it? It's Jordan Mailata. You know what I mean? I'm not saying he's the reason for everything. It's not his fault all the time, but he's given away a lot of penalties. I'm saying it every week in our chat when we're watching these games. Like, why? I can't believe it's him again. Why is he? What? I just there seems to be a lack of discipline at the O-line. So how do you think that's all going to fare out in this Dallas game?
Yeah. It's gonna be tough. Like I said, I for the life of me, I cannot remember that tackle that they traded for. But yeah, he's gonna be a factor along with Quinn Williams, who they just got at the trade deadline from the Jets. Yes, these guys have so many mental mistakes this year, it seems like. But
Yeah.
something that was brought up this week that I had never thought of all offseason, we talked about, well, is Saquon going to be the same Saquon this year? Look at the amount of touches he had last year. Look at how much he ran the
Mm.
ball and everything else. This thought never crossed my mind until I heard someone bring it up on the radio this week. Look at the offensive line. They went through the same thing. And Spike said he asked Jordan Mailata about it. And Mailata says, yeah, man, it just seems like this year it just takes a little longer to get back to that, feeling that 100%. So the
Mm.
offensive line, you always hear offensive linemen want to run block because they want to attack. They don't want to
Yeah.
be on the retreat. They want to attack.
Yeah.
And the thing about it is, I never thought about it, but they're they went through the same thing as Saquon. They were constantly attacking, constantly attacking.
Yeah.
They as many running plays as Saquon had. The offensive line had that many more running plays because they were blocking for the backup running backs and Jalen too. So
Yeah.
I've never thought of that. They had all those games, all those games. So I think that's part of the reason why we are seeing a lot of nicked up injuries and stuff like that. And going back to what you were saying with Jurgens maybe needing to take the week off. We spoke about this many times before. We know what our record is when Lane Johnson doesn't start. It ain't good. But
Mm.
on the bright side, when we have an offensive lineman that knows he's going to start, he
Yeah.
comes in Monday, Tuesday, whatever, and they're like, hey, Lane's out this week, you're starting, or Cam's out this week, you're starting. It seems like Stout is able to get those guys up and
Yeah.
going and up to speed. And it ain't perfect, but it's good. It's better than it would be if Jurgens goes out in the first quarter and Toth has to come in and play 3 quarters or 2 quarters or
Yeah.
whatever. So I just think there's so many mental mistakes right now with the offensive line. Just like last week, for instance, we saw when they called Tyler Steen for the false start, when he was reaching out, touching
Oh.
the defender's hand. The defender's hand was in the neutral zone. But supposedly, according to Nick, I didn't know this, that is a teaching point he said he has to get because the defender can have his hand in the neutral zone, and as long as you don't move, as soon as the play's called, they'll call offsides. But if that defender jumps, that's when you reach out and touch them. They say they teach them to reach out and touch when somebody jumps across. But if you're lined up and you're set in the neutral zone, this is
Mm.
what Nick said in the press conference Monday or Tuesday, whenever. If that hand say this is the line and that hand is across that line, don't reach out and touch that hand like Steen did. Let the play go, and once the play is snapped and they see that, they're going to throw the flag, and you got a free play for a deep shot or whatever at that time. But that was kind of, Nick took accountability for that. He said that's a teaching point on me. But I was so frustrated because it seems like we get behind the sticks so much with these little daggone penalties.
Yeah.
Illegal man downfield, false start, and all that shit. But yeah, it's going to be tough this week, man. It is. That Dallas. I know the
Yeah.
Dallas defense ain't great, but that line's pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah. And these penalties, they're not just like, oh, okay, it's
Yeah.
penalties that are like happening at important times of the game. You know what I mean? It's like when we
Yep.
get a really finally get a good drive going, we got some momentum, and it just kills the entire thing. Because what happens then when they
Yep.
try to recover the drive? It's three and out. You know what I mean? It
Yep.
goes nowhere. We're punting the ball back, or you know, I tell you something that is annoying me, and I know it's getting everyone else annoyed as well. Is when it's like 3rd and 10 or 3rd and 15, and they just run in the ball. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They just run the ball and it goes for negative yards, and we've got to punt the ball back. I know they got a couple of times like they managed to ice it out with Saquon the other week, and then Tank Bigsby had that big 32
Yeah.
yard run. You know, that was cool. But like,
Well,
why do they
didn't
keep?
there was
Yeah, go
one
on.
game I can't remember? Didn't they do that? It was like 3rd and 15 or 3rd and 18. They took a deep shot to Devontae, and he caught the damn thing for a first down.
Yeah, yeah,
So don't be so predictable. Make them think, okay, it's 3rd and long. Have Shipley or whomever back there like they're just going to run a draw play. Run a damn play action and throw a deep ball or throw a quick slant. Well, we know he ain't going to throw a quick slant because we've all heard all week about how Jalen just does not like throwing over the middle of the field. But, that's neither
I
here
know.
nor there. That's part of the same thing. But
It
anyway,
is
yeah,
it is
I get sick
frustrating.
of it too.
Be, be, Yeah, because like you've got the players there to run these middle passes up the field, the slants and the RPOs, and you've got AJ, you've got Devontae, you know Dallas as well. You
Yep.
know he can get free at times, and it's but they I that is what like I'm all for protecting the football and not turning it over, but there are times in the game where you have to get that creativity going and throw the defense off, because our offense is just
Yeah.
tight bunch formations. There's no receivers on the ends of the lines. There's just the defenses know every week what our first 15 plays are going to be, what our first 3 plays are going to be. It's run the ball, deep shot to AJ, run the ball, and up the middle. It's not even like any creativity running the ball either. It's just so
Well,
frustrating.
it's like when we go to 12 personnel and it's a run play. I'm sorry, but if it's a run play, there's no way in hell I'm running the Grant Calcaterra side. I'm sure he's a heck of a guy. He does real well when he catches the ball, does well after the catch.
Yeah,
He can't run block for shit. You'd be better off
no.
putting my old fat ass out there. I'm telling you, you would. And it's something I brought up, I don't know if you folks that listen and watch us know, but our boy ESP has his own show on Wednesdays now from 6 to
Yeah.
8. Go Birds at Night. He had the great Brandon Lee Gouton on this week. Shout out to you boys. Y'all are killing it. But anyway, I told them, Cameron Latu, the guy that's a fullback now, he
Mm.
was originally a tight end, man. Put his ass out there instead of Calcaterra if it's going to be a run
Yeah,
play. Yeah,
I
they may
know.
know, oh, run, but hell, at least you're going to stand a chance because he's going to put more of an effort and do a better job blocking than Calcaterra is. I'm sorry, but
Yeah,
that's just
I
good
seen a couple of
night.
clips on Twitter the other day that the most positive run plays that we had in that game was when Latu was blocking on his side. When he was
Yeah,
blocking, that's when Saquon had more success. So
yeah.
yeah, Kevin Batulo has got to open things up a little bit. You know what I mean? And with Lane Johnson out now, and you're going to have Fred Johnson in there as the every week starter. You're not going to be able to have the 6 O line out there. You know what I mean? To try and run that. I don't know what sort of formation that's called, but they like getting the 6
The
offensive
12.
linemen. Sorry.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
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 never
yeah.
mind. Go ahead. Go ahead.
They like getting the 6 offensive linemen out there. I guess it's for like when they're running the ball and stuff, and it just doesn't doesn't really work. So my thought was when Lane Johnson went down, okay, I'm gutted that Lane is hurt, and I hope they can get him back now, and I hope he's not out for the season, and they can find a way to get him back for the playoff run. But to me, I was thinking, right, now they can open things up a little bit more, surely in the past game. You know what I mean? Just get a bit more creativity going, balanced offense. It's
You,
not fucking difficult.
you know what I've been. Okay, so you've been listening to the afternoon show, obviously. So
Mm.
Spike's got a crush for the center that we stole from the Rams, Willie Lampkin, whom
Yeah.
they took off the injured list and whatever. Guy's
Yeah.
like 5'11", 300 pounds. He's a stump. He's a tree stump. That's what we call guys like that.
Mm.
He's probably stout enough to pull a freaking tractor. That
Yeah.
type of cat. I tell you what I'd do right now if I could activate his ass. In goal line situations, instead of running tush push, I'd put his ass in. I'd be running plays with his ass at fullback. Could you imagine that bitch cleaning a hole out for
Yeah,
that gun
yeah.
Saquon? I
But
mean,
they won't do
I
that.
really
That's the
think they.
problem. There's
Well,
no
I
creativity.
really think. Yeah, I really think there's something to this guy though. I hate to interrupt the thought process, but when you were saying that in creativity, it just kind of popped in my head because I've been
Yeah,
talking to some people about it. Dude, they wouldn't have done that, taken that guy, if they didn't have plans for him. I don't know that he can play offensive line at 5'11", maybe, but
yeah,
I just don't know if he can. But they wouldn't have taken that guy if they didn't have some sort of plan for him somewhere along the way.
yeah.
But yeah, man,
Well, this is like,
the creativity is
yeah.
ridiculous right now.
Yeah, it's terrible. There is none. Like I just said, they know what's coming every week, and I can guarantee you they'll try and run the same stuff out there if they win the toss and the Eagles have got the opening drive, they'll run the same stuff and it'll go absolutely nowhere, and it's just going to be like, here we are again. We're in another game
Yeah.
where we're going to be relying on the defense. Don't get me wrong. Like I got complete trust in Jalen Hurts. I do. Like I like that he's not putting us in dangerous situations, and I think he does want to be let loose a little bit more. So if he does want
Yeah.
to be let loose a little bit more, let him loose. Stop being so afraid. You know what I mean? We have the talent pool around us. You know what I mean? We're paying all this money and whatever, and it's just like it's the same formations every single week. You know, and it's just
Yeah.
getting us nowhere. And as great as the defense have been, and as think there's going to be a time where the defense can't hold up their end of the bargain in a game, you know, and it's gonna be Jalen's gonna have to, the offense are gonna have
Yeah,
to
he's
come
going to
out
have
and
to
do it
step
again.
up. The offense is going to
Yeah,
have to step
and
up.
if
And
they
I
aren't
think
willing to let Jalen do that, then there's going to be issues. Then there should be issues.
I, I don't know if it's all coaches that are kind of holding him back, or if it's Jalen's fear of turning the ball over, because we've heard time and again they keep preaching to him, just don't turn the ball over. Just don't. When we don't turn
Yeah.
the ball over, this is what our record is. When we win the turnover battle, this is what our record is. And they're pounding that in his head. And Jalen is a coach's kid. We've heard that
Mm.
his whole career. He's a coach's kid. He was
Yeah.
coached by Saban and some other really good coaches and stuff like that. So Jalen is a conservative turnover reverse type quarterback. We know that. But like you said, there's going to come a game here toward the end where we're going to need the offense to step up and play their ass off. And it's like I discussed it this week on the afternoon show. You've got a stretch coming up here. There ain't really no good defenses coming up here in the next little
Mm.
bit. Even Buffalo's defense sucks.
Yeah.
Buffalo's run defense gives up, I think, 160 yards a game, something like that.
Mm.
We need to come out, and this is where I agreed with Jack last night. I don't need to see the Eagles score 35 and lose 38-35. I want to see
Yeah.
the Eagles score 35 and win 35-32 or something like that. I'd be
Yeah.
fine with that because we know how good
Yeah.
Dallas's offense is. I want to see the offense with this run of defenses that we're fixing to play, because after that we got Chicago on Black Friday, and their defense ain't that great. I think they're a fraud 8-2. They're lucky to be 8-2. I think they've got a really good head coach. I think he's a really good offensive mind. I ain't got a lot of faith in that quarterback per se, but
Mm.
that's just me, my opinion of him. But I really think this next little run, maybe all this shit coming out this week's kind of galvanized the offense, and Jalen, it galvanizes him, and he's like, you know what, by God, I'm gonna let her rip, Tater Chip. We're gonna go down, and if
Hopefully.
I wish he would just be like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. If I throw 3 picks, I'll throw 3 picks. I know he's not got that mentality because he
Mm.
don't want to turn the ball over.
Yeah.
But if he goes out and throws for 300 something yards and 3 touchdowns and has 2 picks and we win 35-28 or something like that, will everybody be happy then?
Yeah.
That's my thing. I'll be
I
happy
know.
with a win regardless, whether it's 12 to
Yeah.
9, 38-35, whatever. But
Yeah.
you got to look at this too. To keep that one seed, to keep it, the Rams are 8-2 as well. So
Yeah.
we have the tiebreaker with the Rams because we beat them head to head. But if we lose one more game and they don't, then they get that one seed and the bye.
Yeah.
So we have to keep winning no matter what. By hook or crook, we have to win.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. And unfortunately, I think because of Dallas's high-powered offense and Dak and CD Lamb, and I think
Yeah.
I
George
think Eagles.
Pickens.
Yeah, George Pickens as well. He's been good since he got traded there. I think
Yes.
the Eagles are going to run a conservative offense. They are going to be protective of the football because they want to keep Dak off the field for as long as
Off the field.
possible. You know what I mean?
I agree.
But well, if they're going to do that, keep it a balanced, positive drives. Then you know what I mean. Make sure that you can make these completions. But there we go. So before we finish, just let's have a
One
quick chat
thing
about.
too.
Yeah,
One
go on.
thing. I mentioned this to Elliott and Brandon Lee Gouton. We've seen an uptick in production from Tank Bigsby since he's been taken out of the
Yeah,
kick return, thank God, and he's been running the
yeah.
ball. He runs really well. He runs really hard. He's explosive when he runs the ball. I want to see him like to save Saquon for the playoff run. It'd probably piss him off too. Maybe I don't know. Saquon seems like a really good guy who's willing to do anything for a win, like Jalen.
Mm,
Take 4 or 5 more snaps or carries away from Saquon and give them to Tank to just kind of keep Saquon fresh for the playoff run.
yeah. Well,
I really
you may
want to
as well.
see that,
Yeah,
and I want to
you
see some 2-back sets.
yeah yeah. I mean, you may as
I want
well
to see
because
Bigsby and Saquon both.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's more creativity they could put out there, and you may as well start limiting his snaps because they're struggling to run the ball anyway. So why not?
Yes.
Like you know what I mean? Like keep him healthy as you can out for this stretch run. So yeah. So
Yes.
speaking of that, obviously we're competing for the number one seed in the NFC. The NFC is the best that it's been for a few years this year. You
Yes.
know what I mean? There's a lot of hot teams. You know, Tampa, I know Tampa are no like world killers, but they find a way to when I know they've struggled since Mike Evans has been gone, and we're having Chris Godwin is getting
Yes.
banged up every now. But Tampa is still floating around out there. The Lions, they aren't going to go anywhere. The Packers, they're not going to go anywhere. But for me, the two
The
threats
Panthers are
are
playing well too.
the Panthers, yeah. But the real threats for me for the playoffs is the Rams. Obviously, if we got to go up against the Rams again, and then obviously Seattle. Now, I know Sam Darnold choked last year in the playoffs with the Vikings. You know what I mean? Like he couldn't live up to that, and you could see that he was frazzled in that Lions game. He wasn't what he looked like all year, and he's been fantastic for Seattle this year. He does throw picks.
Yeah.
The last game I watched, he threw like 3 or 4 interceptions, and then the Rams, they missed the field goal at the end for the Rams to win. But I think long as Seattle come here, we'll be okay. But I don't think anything shouldn't touch wood. Nothing will go drastically wrong where we would have to end up going out there.
Yeah.
So, but they are the top two threats to me in the playoffs. Now, obviously, we can beat both of them. We've beaten the Rams multiple times, but the Rams are always on the knife's edge of beating us. You know what I mean? It's never, the last 2 games haven't been easy against the Rams. We have played Seattle since 23, and that's when the collapse started coming to fruition. They're a high-powered offense. They've got some good young receivers. Seattle in Jigba, you know what I mean. He is fantastic. So whether Sam Darnold can keep his stuff together during the playoffs, we're going to see. So do you see those 2 teams as sort of like the standout threats to us over the Lions and the Packers, or would you say the Lions and the Packers would probably still be around there?
I think the Rams are the number one threat for us right now.
Yeah.
In the playoffs. I think it's overwhelmingly the Rams right now. As long as they stay healthy. Matt Stafford, I think, has thrown 22 touchdowns in his last 4 or 5 games, something like that.
Yeah.
He's right now the lead for the MVP. I think Darnold. Didn't they play? Who was it they played a week or so ago? He looked bad. Was it the Rams?
It was the Rams.
That
Yeah.
they played where he looked so bad.
Yeah.
I think Darnold. He's starting to come into his own as a quarterback, starting to play better. We saw that last year with Minnesota. We're seeing it this year with Seattle. I think Seattle might be a year early for being a true threat in the playoffs.
Yeah.
But they could be. They could be. I still think it's the Rams in Detroit. Green Bay don't scare me. Jordan Love don't scare me. I know everybody's like, oh, we just barely beat them when we went out there. I know that, but there's just something about that team that don't scare me. I know they were without a lot of receivers and weapons and whatnot. I don't know. And who knows? Green Bay could come in here and beat our ass in the playoffs. I don't know. But I think the number one threat, hands down right now, is the Rams. And I still think number two is Detroit. Then I would probably say Seattle, then Green Bay, in my opinion. But when you were talking about like the NFC being so good, man, daggone Bryce Young threw for almost 400 yards last week. So it seems like he's
Yeah,
got him a good coach there. He's
he's finding
he's
his
starting to
stride.
come on now. I
Yeah,
know he's like 5'10" and a buck 60 or something like that, and he's going
yeah,
to get broken half eventually. But they're starting to play better. The Bucks, like you said, they're kind of coming down a little bit. Injury bugs taking a toll on them some. But yeah, man, the NFC's tough. And the 49ers, with all the injuries they've had to deal with, they're still plugging along, dude.
yeah.
Still plugging along.
Brock Purdy's back
That just
now, and he
shows
and
you
he,
how good.
he looked good. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that shows
it's
you just how good a coach Shanahan is.
yeah,
So yeah,
yeah.
it's going to be tough, dude. It is.
It's
We have to get that one seed. Have
yeah,
to.
yeah. Like I mean, last year it was okay that we didn't get the one seed because we were still confident going into that wild card game and stuff. You know what I mean,
Yeah.
against the Packers, and we were such a good defense, and obviously we got a fantastic defense this year. But obviously it's the offense which is the concern, and until they start clicking more on a more consistent basis, we can't keep going this way where it's okay, they're bad for 3 weeks and we're squeaking out wins, but then they have that amazing game when they put everything together. You know what I mean? Like we can't do that in the playoffs. In the playoffs, you're one and done. You know, so I hope now in this stretch run with the teams that we're going up against. You know what I mean? The Bills is going to be the toughest game. You know what I mean? The Buffalo Bills is going to be the toughest game because Josh Allen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I know he hasn't looked good the last.
It's going to be colder than hell up there too when they go up there.
Yeah.
The time of
Oh
year
yeah.
they go up there, it's going to be damn miserable cold. I mean, it's
Yeah.
going to be damn cold in that
And
game.
another
I
thing,
feel
if
sorry for the
they're
fans of Philly going to that one.
yeah, and if ever there's a game where they're going to have to be conservative and just run the ball, it's that game because
Run the
it's just
ball.
it's going to be
Yeah.
so cold. They're going to have to, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's
Well, like I said, they give up 160 yards a game running too. So
exactly, yeah.
you
So
got
take
to get it
advantage of
going.
it, yeah. So yeah, so they just find some consistency, just get some balanced offense going, and everyone will be happy. But obviously,
Yes.
if they win by 1 point, if they win by 2 points, I want to win. So I'd rather be happy on a Monday
Yes.
morning and happy this Monday and happy next Saturday with them winning. You know what I mean? So that's like
Yeah.
Jalen says, winning is what matters. Yeah, they're going down
But
to Dallas this
what's
week.
real quick? What's the rest of our schedule? What's the rest of our schedule? Dallas this
It's
week, then Chicago, then what?
Chicago. Then I think it's
Is it
Washington,
Washington,
the Bills,
Buffalo,
and then Washington.
Washington, and then don't we play the Raiders and the Chargers
Oh
somewhere too
shit!
along the
Yeah,
way?
the Raiders and the Chargers. I completely forgot about them. That's
The
how much
Chargers is out there.
yeah, yeah. The Raiders is in Philly. That's a game they've got to just like
Yeah.
wipe them off the map. So especially
Yeah.
with Geno Smith, he's struggling
So the
big
thing,
time.
that's what I'm saying. Those are the defenses that we're going to be facing the rest of the
Yeah,
way. That's what I
yeah,
was talking about earlier. Washington's done this year. Their defense is ass. I told you 3 or 4 times what Buffalo's run defense is. I think Chicago, hell, they could win the NFC North. Aren't they 8-2 or 7-3, something like that
yeah,
themselves? I think they're
yeah.
7-3. But I think it's kind of a fake 7-3. Once they really have to play the Lions or something like that, I think Lions are really going to beat the hell out of them. But yeah, man, our offense has really got to start showing out from here on out
They've
because
got
it's
to.
nothing but
Yeah,
bad defenses the rest of the way.
yeah,
They've
yeah.
got to start making progress.
Yeah, we got to keep these wins going, lock up the number one seed because it's more important this year than ever, So because it's the NFC is just so stacked and so good, and it's come along. So
Yeah.
We'll wrap it up there for this week. The Eagles are going down to Dallas. Kelly Green, can't wait to see the Kelly Greens again. Hopefully they keep bringing the luck that they do when they put on those jerseys, and they put on a good display, and just can't wait. Love Kelly Green. Love seeing it. So it's
Love it.
go down to
Absolutely.
Dallas. Dallas sucks. Go Birds.
Dallas
and
sucks.
Dallas sucks, and we'll see you all in maybe not next week or the
Go,
week after. We'll be back. So yeah,
go
go
Birds, go
go
Vols.
birds.
Vols got the Gators in the swamp this week. So
Yeah.
if they lose to the damn Gators, y'all don't come looking for me. I'm gonna have my head buried in the damn sand somewhere.
I can't wait to watch that game. That's going to be class. Yeah, yeah. So
Ah,
go
damn,
birds.
I'm dreading it.
Well, we ended there. Go birds. Go Vols. Dallas sucks.
Love y'all. I mean.